everybody, how's it going? This is Big Lair here on Jack's Private Coffee Corner. It's the 19th of November. I'm here in Nagoya, Japan. We've had some nice weather here in Japan recently. It's been quite warm, almost summer temperatures the last couple days. Does get down at night into the 40s, which is pretty good for sleeping. And about this time of year, we normally have colder temperatures. We get this Siberian clipper, this cold front that moves in over Japan from Siberia, rolls down over us, and it pretty much sits on Japan for the whole winter. That hasn't happened yet. It's a little behind, I guess, but that's okay with me. Although today I can see it's really, really windy out, and normally a day like this with such intense wind is the day that they announce, oh, the Siberian clipper has arrived. So maybe from here on out we'll get colder weather. I'm pretty lucky where I am. We don't get snow very often. I can remember last year actually we had snow on December 26th. I was walking to a client's office. I was walking through downtown Nagoya. I can remember standing in front of the station, this big Nagoya station. I had to walk across probably one of the biggest intersections in Nagoya. Snow was just coming down and everyone was huddled underneath the awnings of all these shops. They were acting like, you know, the snow was going to somehow melt them or something. And I remember just looking at everyone thinking, wow, what's going on here? And I was the only guy out walking in the snow. That was pretty awesome. So we don't get snow very often, but once in a while we do. It doesn't stay long though. Okay. Well, what's going on here? I just want to talk about cryptocurrencies, give an update. It's been 3 days since my last update. Okay, well, prices since, well, if I go back to the 12th, a week ago, prices have slowly been going down. You know, we've had some cryptos that have popped up. NEO's a favorite of mine. You know, from the 12th to the 13th, NEO went from $12.03 to $13.06. That triggered one of my target prices to sell, that $13.06. Actually, lower than that is one of my target prices, so that was good. What else was going on? Not too much. There's a, you know, I've got my favorite coins that I talk about here on YouTube, NEO, Tezos, and OMG. I now have some other new favorites. I have 3 other favorites that I've been watching closely, and I'm kind of keeping those for my patrons to see how those pan out. Those 3 there, they're doing okay. One of the coins I've been watching was up 15% the first day that I rolled out my data on it, so that was good to know. Although the coin has gone up and down since then, and I believe today it's around, yeah, where it was a week ago. So not much has happened with it. It's had some up and down movement. Let's see, just looking at Tezos here and OMG. Back on the 14th, Tezos was up to $1.24. That was also close to one of my target prices. OMG was at $1.03. That's nothing to write home with. Nothing to write home about, I should say. You know, OMG tends to move in a tighter band than Tezos or NEO does. I believe today when I looked, OMG was at 95 cents. Let's see, not much has happened with Bitcoin, although Bitcoin, let's see, where did we end the week? We ended the week at around 8,500 last week. However, when I look at my data from today, wow, Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin is down to 8,294. I'm not sure what it is exactly right now, but when I checked this morning around 7:30, 7:45, it was at 8,294. So it's been slowly trending down for a week. Let's see, how did things look yesterday? Yeah, not much has been going on. We've seen some movement. Last week we saw a little bit of movement with Stellar. This week, let's see, Stellar was up a little bit, up a tiny bit, but now it's back down again if I'm not mistaken. I've got some new metrics that I look at now. I've got certain numbers that I look at, certain percentages I'm looking at for coins to try and get a handle on where the price trends are moving. Are they moving up, moving down? Gives me a good indication of where buy-in points are, where selling points are. And I just had a very interesting idea. The other day I was thinking to myself, well, cryptos have been down, for a while. They're due to go up, I think, soon. Actually, why do I think that? Well, let's see. Last Tuesday was the 12th. That was a very auspicious day for me. Why was it auspicious? Well, I'll give you the short version of it. Years and years ago, I read this book. I was in California, for, a couple of weeks, and it was rainy out, which is rare for California, although I was up near Northern California a little bit, near Carmel, Monterey area. Anyway, it was rainy, so I went to a bookstore, looked around. I found this book on the Rosicrucians. Now, I may be pronouncing that or mispronouncing that, but I'm pretty sure it's the Rosicrucians. And it was just basically, like their system on how they look at the world. I'm not quite sure how to explain it. But anyway, in the book, so I bought this book, and I spent a number of days in the hotel just going through it. And one of the things it talked about is that depending on your date of birth, you'll have these yearly cycles, and then the yearly cycle will be broken up into, I believe it was 7 parts. I may be off on that, but it seems to me it was 7 parts. And so in the book, they suggested you get some note cards and you write down, you calculate the dates for yourself, phase 1 of your yearly cycle is from this, your birth date, out so many days, and then your second phase and your third phase and whatnot. And each phase had particular characteristics that either made it favorable or unfavorable for you to do certain things in your life. So like I said, I had a lot of time, and I thought, well, I'll just do this and see how it goes. Got some note cards from the desk, the receptionist at the hotel desk. They were nice enough to give me some note cards. So I wrote everything out exactly the way this book said to do it. And I followed it for a number of years. Seemed to have good luck with it. I don't know if it was, exactly the information in the book, or was I just more aware of what I was doing with my life? I don't know. I tend to think the advice in this book on the Rosicrucians helped me out. There were certain things I was going to start, and I would say, no, actually, I should wait until, phase 4 to start this. And I would actually wait to do certain things. Years ago in Japan, I started a business based on this, and it went really well. So I recently found this. I have a library of very old books. I have half of a library from a very well-known psychic person that I was acquainted with, 15 years ago, I think now is when I got these books. And anyway, so I'm in the process of, thinking I want to move to America and getting things ready for that. And I found these note cards that I had from the Rosicrucian book and the book itself. So I was looking over at it and noticed, oh wow, in this phase, whatever it was, whichever number it was, the 12th of November stood out as being good for me, and then it said 10 days later should be even better. And this had to do with money, money coming to you. So I thought, 10 days from the 12th of November would be the 22nd. Well, let's see what happens on the 22nd. So I'm looking at that, and then I'm going back to my charts and seeing that, cryptocurrencies aren't doing much, a lot of sideways movement. A couple coins, like I said, Neo, Tezos, OMG, and a couple others are, getting some movement up and down. You can trade them a little bit, make some gains. And then today, I see it dropped pretty good. Everything is down, if I'm not mistaken. Well, not everything. It looks like Theta and Tezos are up, Theta's up almost 3% in dollar terms. Tezos 2.5%, but pretty much, and there's one other, new secret coin that I'm watching that's down 5.8%, but everything else is down, really, really down. Stellar's down, over 8%. Bitcoin's down 6.3%. So, even OMG and NEO are down considerably. So thinking about all of that, putting all of that information together, actually, several days ago, I thought to myself, there's a few other things I should be tracking on my spreadsheet. There's a few other things I should be tracking. So I created these 3 new metrics. And it took a lot of time. It took a lot of time because I've got to, create a formula for each cryptocurrency, and each one gets very specific numbers put in. So it's not just something you can copy and paste. It wasn't an easy thing to do. However, looking at the data has made it very interesting for me. Very interesting, because now I'm looking at coins not only on their daily price. I also look at, if I had 1 Bitcoin, how many coins could I buy with that? So for example, today, if I had 1 Bitcoin and I wanted to buy Digibyte, I could get 1,241,988 Digibyte with my Bitcoin. And I can also see that that's 4,470 more Digibyte than I could have gotten yesterday with 1 Bitcoin. So, I'm tracking that kind of stuff. So the price, how much can 1 Bitcoin buy? And then what is the change, compared to, today compared to yesterday? What is the change in the amount of coins I can get with my Bitcoin? And then I also track the change in prices from one day to the next. So I can tell, oh, the coin's up this percent, it's down this percent. And that, with Excel isn't too big of a deal to do. It's just, writing the formulas and whatnot. But these other ones that I've got here, I'm tracking 3 new metrics. Those took some time because you have to put in individual numbers for each cryptocurrency. And now that, I've only done this for 2 days, so I really can't say much about it. I already have kind of a working theory on what's happening, but I don't know anyone else who's tracking these 3 metrics. I did a little search on the internet, nothing. YouTube, nothing. Possibly if I contacted one of my former MBA professors in finance, maybe they know someone who's doing research at some university regarding cryptocurrencies looking at these metrics, but I don't know. I don't want to say I doubt it, because I'm probably not the only person in the whole world to look at this, but as far as my search is concerned, so far I'm the only person looking at these 3 metrics. And I don't want to say anything about it because it's only 2 days of data. You really can't say anything about 2 days of data. However, there are some very striking numbers here, and I'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm looking at them now and I'm thinking, holy moly, very, very interesting data here. So if you'd like to hear, more about these 3 metrics and how I think they're affecting, the prices of things, I've got a Patreon page. There's a link probably down below in the description box. It gives a link to the Patreon page. And I'll talk about these 3 metrics. I'll include those in my daily crypto updates. So very fascinating stuff. And also, I've had some messages from people asking me about some basic things about cryptocurrencies, such as, what about exchanges? What about using wallets? Now, when it comes to wallets, you've got basically 2 kinds, right? A hardware and a software wallet. And then from there, you've got 3 choices for your software wallets. Which one's the best? Which ones do I recommend? This is also something I go over in detail on Patreon. I have a very detailed presentation on it, so if that would be, helpful to someone just pass it on. Regarding exchanges, there's two kinds of exchanges. I also have a video over there on that. It's quite detailed, showing you how to get on an exchange, how to send cryptocurrencies, how to receive cryptocurrencies, and things you want to watch out for using an exchange. I also have a really important video on Patreon. It's about security. And I think I had mentioned in my previous video that here in Japan there are people doing cryptocurrency seminars. I'm considering doing it. And they're charging around $1,000. Some are charging more, but usually $1,000 is the base price of these presentations. And I had someone email me, because they found me on LinkedIn and they know I'm involved in cryptocurrency. So they emailed me and said, hey, I'm giving this seminar. What do you think? Could you look over my outline and tell me what you think if I've missed anything? So I looked it over, and this person had almost nothing about security. And security, in my mind, is the most important thing. If you don't have your security locked down tight, you might as well just give up everything. Because if your security is not there, at some point, someone who's very savvy at using a computer will get all of your cryptocurrencies from you. So, you really need to spread out. The biggest thing with security on cryptocurrencies is you need to spread out your risk as much as possible. And I don't want to go into detail with it because it becomes very, quite detailed, but, security is number one. You've really got to get your security locked down tight when it comes to cryptocurrencies. In fact, when I got into this space, before I did anything, I was, okay, granted, I'm quite blessed in that I have some good friends and acquaintances who are incredibly computer savvy people who work in very, I don't know how I should say this, very strict environments when it comes to computers and cybersecurity. So, I was very blessed to have those individuals, and I spent time with them to find out, what is needed for security for having cryptocurrencies, holding cryptocurrencies, buying and selling cryptocurrencies. So I give an extremely detailed account of what is needed, what is necessary if you want to safely buy, sell, and store your cryptocurrencies. Now, there is one thing I left off my video, and that would be if someone became a millionaire. Now, if you told me you had $1 million or more in cryptocurrencies, there's another level I could talk to you about. But I haven't made a video about that because, well, I don't know anyone in that situation yet. However, if someone came to me and said, hey, man, I've got over $1 million in cryptos, then I would say, oh, okay, those guidelines I gave you already, you're going to have to step up your game, because now you're a different kind of target for hackers, for these. You're not just, now people are not going to try phishing attacks, they're going to try spear phishing attacks on you. So you got to up your game when it comes to security and put a little more into it. But that's something, maybe in the future, I don't know, maybe in 6 months time, a bunch of us will be millionaires from all this. I don't know. If that's the case, I'll make another video to bring people up to speed on what they need. So security is so important. And, if you'd like to see that information, it's not going to cost you $1,000. It's over on my Patreon page. I highly recommend that for people. I've already had people tell me that the information has been extremely useful for them, and I've helped people personally here in Japan with cryptocurrencies, and I've saved them a lot of headaches from security. And I've even had people who came to me and said, how much do you charge to help me out with this? I told them. They said, no, I don't think so, I'm going to wait. And then they've come back to me months later, and things are really a mess, and they've lost all kinds of stuff. And now they're more than happy to pay me to help them out. And I think, geez, the person was just quibbling over a small amount of money and they lost a significant amount of money. So security is so important. And another thing I've got in my library is I've got a trading analysis video. I give the big picture theory on my system, sort of the theory that underpins the whole thing. And it's practical, it's not complicated at all, and if you follow it, it works. Okay? And then also I've got 2 videos on trading strategy for cryptocurrencies. Of course, there's a lot of things, a number of things you have to consider, which I go over. And you set yourself up in a position, you wait until you have these 3 things lined up. And once you have these 3 things lined up, you can make your trade and be confident that no matter what happens to the price of the cryptocurrency you just sold, you don't really care, because you did the first thing was achieved. You looked at it, okay, is number 1, is this condition true? Yes. Number 2, is this true? Yes. Number 3, is this true? Yes. And so you make that first trade, and then from there, you've got 3 more options, 3 options from that original trade. So as long as you understand what those are, you're never in a position where, oh man, I sold, for example, I sold my Bitcoin Cash and now it just dropped, 20%. What am I going to do? Or you buy a coin and, there are people who, they buy a coin and then it drops, they get scared and they sell at a loss. There's no reason to do anything like that, right? Or there's no reason to lose money on cryptocurrencies, unless you were someone who came into the market in the beginning of 2018 and bought at the absolute highs. Then you're in a different situation. However, I think if you were strategic in your trading, you could significantly increase your crypto portfolio. Now, on some of the coins I purchased in the beginning, man, I came in, I came in when things were about 50% down from the all-time highs. And, I wasn't savvy at all. I knew about dollar cost averaging, things like that, but I didn't know about stop losses or anything. I wasn't thinking about, what if you buy it up here and it keeps going down, 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 down. When do you sell and get out of that position to minimize your exposure, right? Your risk, right? I didn't think of anything like that, even though I had studied it. But life is a good teacher, and I went through the school of hard knocks the last couple of years, learned a lot, and I'm actually glad I did, because when you fail, when you make mistakes, that's when you really learn what's going on, and you figure out, this is the way I should go, right? You'll find the answer, because you're paying for it. You're paying for it in many different ways. So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, on Patreon, I've got this 6 videos over there. They're quite in-depth. They go through all of this stuff. If you're over there and you're looking at them and you have questions, let me know. Lots of people have asked about this sort of thing for a number. Well, let's see. People here in Japan have been asking me for over a year now to help out with these kinds of things, and I've helped out here and there. And then I thought, well, I should make kind of a system out of this, and help as many people as I can, because there's a lot of information about cryptos and people saying, buy this one, buy that one. Oh, this is a good price. That's a good price. That's all, fine to know that. But there's all of this other stuff behind, buying and selling cryptocurrencies that if you don't know, that can really trip you up and cost you a lot. Okay, so in conclusion here, I see the crypto market has been slowly going down over the last week. I do have my favorites. I've got Neo, Tezos, OMG. They're down. Neo's really down. I've got 3 other secret coins that I'm talking about over on Patreon. We'll see what happens with those. there's a lot of good buying opportunities here today as I look at these. Bitcoin Cash at 250. I think that's a good price. Litecoin 56, that's good. Now, I'm not really a fan of Litecoin anymore. I was before, but I just see much greater potential in other coins. Okay, XRP is at 25 cents, 25.57 cents when I checked. That's a good price for XRP. Things, maybe they'll go down in the next couple of days. I don't know, right? I don't have a crystal ball. So, Cardano and Stellar, they're down. Digibyte is really down. It's at 6 cents. My God, 6.6 cents. That's a fantastic buy, right? Theta's still down a little bit, Ethereum, another coin I'm not really interested in, that's at 180. I can remember getting Ethereum just because I needed it to buy something else, and it was what, $70 or something. So for me, looking at Ethereum at 180 doesn't really mean much to me. I would prefer, other coins that I just talked about. I would really like to get Digibyte. If I had to get something today, I'd get Digibyte. And Cardano actually looks pretty good. And OMG. Yeah, those would be my choices today. Okay, everybody. I hope you have a great day. I hope your crypto trading is successful. And keep watching this space. I should have another video out in the next couple days. Okay, everybody, you take care.